T-Mobile gives you more ways than ever to get out there with America's largest 5G network and the epic iPhone 12 with 5G on us. Whether you're hitting the road,
check out this great 4K video. I even posted it with 5G way out here.
Or getting the team together. Right now, current and new customers get up to 4 iPhone 12s on us on our Max plan with eligible trade-ins. Only at T-Mobile.
Each phone on us via 24 credits plus tax for well-qualified buyers. If you cancel credit, stop and balance on required finance agreements may be due. Contact us. See 5G coverage, access, and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
Ever wonder just how far an extra mile really goes? Drive a Mercedes-Benz van and find out. They offer a variety of powerful and efficient vans that can run on your choice of either gas or diesel, like the durable Mercedes-Benz Sprinter or that versatile Mercedes-Benz Metris, each tailored to match your work or play lifestyle. So take a test drive. Take that first step into an authorized Mercedes-Benz van dealership for a test drive. Mercedes-Benz Vans. Most people know that Apartments.com is the most popular place to find a place. That's because Apartments.com has the most rental listings and the most ways to find them, all thanks to some of the most powerful tools like 3D virtual tours. So you're probably going to find the right place, which everybody would agree is good news, unless you're part of that peculiar minority of people who prefer to have less than most. Make the most obvious move for your next move. Use Apartments.com. Apartments.com, the most popular place to find a place.
You are listening to The Dan Patrick Show on Fox Sports Radio.
Welcome to this Friday show. It's hour 2, Dan and the Danettes. Dan Patrick Show, spirited first hour, controversy first hour. Also heard from the Patriots insider Tom Curran. And it feels like you got a real quarterback battle. A lot of times we in the media like to play something up. This feels like Mac Jones has a really good chance of being the starting quarterback for the Patriots. And also understand this. It's not like there's a legacy here with the Patriot fans. Boy, they want to thank Cam Newton. They want to stay behind him. They've had all of this great success. There's no loyalty there. Didn't have a good season last year. Plus, you get Mac Jones in there. They're used to seeing a quarterback who is not athletic, who stays in the pocket and makes really good throws. And that's what you have with Mac Jones. They did quite well with that style for 20 years. And it feels like, hey, just plug and play. Put Mac Jones in there, and let's see what he can do. But the Patriots spent a lot of money in the offseason on free agents. Therefore, there's this. I mean, Bill Belichick doesn't rebuild. He reloads. And this is a team that's ready to win now. And you've got a lot of competition then in their own division. You know, starting with Buffalo. Miami is good. Jets should be improved. You know, Patriots trying to kind of keep pace with everybody here. And then you factor in all the other teams in the AFC that could win a championship or at least win their division and go far in the playoffs. But what we saw last night with Mac Jones, I thought his best throw was a ball that was dropped for a touchdown. But he looked comfortable there. It's only one game, but he looked comfortable. Cam Newton, if this isn't his last year, I'll be surprised. And he's acknowledged this as well, that he goes, hey, look, guy works hard. He shows up early, leaves late. I understand why the Patriots drafted him in the first round. You don't draft a quarterback in the first round and not have the idea that he could be playing for us immediately. Not later, sooner. And I think that if you get to that point where you've got weapons, you got tight ends, you got wide receivers, why would you have a quarterback who can't get them the ball? Doesn't make any sense to me. Cam is still fun to watch, but he's not Cam of 2015. And if he's going to play, what style are you going to have? A running quarterback who could occasionally beat you with his arm? Or do you want to have a guy who you know he's going to be in the pocket and, it feels like you've already had that kind of offense for 20 years now. But Mac Jones looked pretty good last night for the Patriots. And one thing's clear, he's not in Alabama anymore. Because when he was there, you had Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. In New England last night, he had Christian Wilkerson, Gunnar Olszewski. To be fair, the Patriots only gave their top receivers limited work there. But you look at the weapons there, and is this a passing team? Or are they going to be running and passing? They got a lot of running backs as well. But Tom Brady didn't get a lot of help from the skill position players in 2019, which in part led to his departure. hey, you asked me to continue to try to salvage this offense. And the players you draft, I mean, N'Keal Harry, he's still on the team. But even last night during the broadcast, they're saying, this guy's got to learn to get open. If he hasn't learned to get open now, he's not learning to get open now. Regardless of who's at quarterback, New England still needs to prove that the receiving core is upgraded. And it certainly hasn't performed in recent years. But it's one game. We overreact. I just wanted to see how comfortable Mac Jones looked in the pocket and how he sort of processed everything. Get to the line of scrimmage. If you need to change a play, if you're going through progressions, like small things. A lot of times we look at the bottom line, you look at stats, and you go, boy, somebody had a really good game. Or somebody didn't have a really good game. And they can be misleading. 877-3DP-SHOW, email address dp@danpatrick.com, Twitter handle @DP-SHOW. McLovin, poll question from the first hour, and are we staying with it for the second hour?
You can watch only one player this weekend in the preseason action. Jordan Love is number one, with Trevor Lawrence actually number two, then Tim Tebow, then Fields and Lance. And that's your vote as well, right?
I'm just curious. Let's say Jordan Love plays really well. What's the fallout? All of August, he plays really well. What if he doesn't play well at all in the month of August? What's the fallout going to be? That's why he's the most fascinating player in the preseason, in my opinion, because we have not seen him. Unless you love to watch football on a secondary level and you're watching him in college, you probably have no idea. Maybe you saw some highlights, but that's about it. I'm really curious to see how he plays and look for the same things in him that I'm looking at for Mac Jones or Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. And Jordan Love has been in the system, though, for a year, but he hasn't had any reps whatsoever. Now he gets that opportunity, and he's the one that I'm focused on just to see, was he worth it? Yes, McLevin.
How about a scenario where he plays well and another quarterback gets hurt? Could they trade him for maybe like a Sam Bradford situation?
No, because you have no assurance of what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. If Jordan Love can play, then you're not trading him. But if you're not quite sure, even after this year, then you got a real decision to make. Because if Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to stay, and it gives him leverage too, because he might say, how's your first-round draft pick doing? Yeah, now here's a couple other things that I would like next season if I'm going to stay here. Yeah, Paulie.
If you're Aaron Rodgers, do you want Jordan Love to play very well in the preseason to help you get out of Green Bay and play for another team?
Well,
or no?
He already has that in his contract.
But it'll make it a real easy out. Both sides will want it. I don't know.
Well, he talks glowingly about Jordan Love. I don't think he said, look, I don't have a problem with him. I mean, Jordan Love didn't draft himself, right? And I think that, with the Packers, his problem is with a couple of people. But I want to see how Jordan Love does on a big stage here. Yeah, McLovin.
I find that veteran rookie dynamic so interesting. Like when you were a SportsCenter host, did you really help the young guys? You always hear young guys say thank you to you, but aren't you like part of you holding back because you're nervous they're going to be better than you? That's how I would do it.
I think if they were humble and they wanted to learn, and back then there was so much competition, and you had a lot of these younger guys who came in and they wanted what Keith Olbermann and I had. We were kind of biding our time. We didn't want what Chris Berman had because Berman had been there. He helped build the place. But if you had younger SportsCenter anchors and they truly wanted to know, hey, can you help me with this? But there was a lot of attitude going on back then. There are a lot of people who thought, hey, I should have your job. Stuart Scott and I did not get along. A great respect for him, certainly what he went through. But we didn't get along because Stewart came in and had an attitude of he was taking my job, or when Keith left, he wanted that job. And there were others that were like that. But look, it's male-driven, testosterone-driven, and, you're competitive. And Stewart's one of the more competitive guys I was ever around. But, at that point, you want somebody to come in and have a little bit of respect for you. And I don't know if he had that. I think he respected what we were doing, but he wanted it. And, I certainly understood it. because I came in and Tom Mees was anchoring SportsCenter, and I thought, I'm better than him. It wasn't the right attitude to have, and then you kind of have to go, I got to be respectful here. I was better at hiding it, though. Stewart didn't hide it. Like it was an open, topic that, I knew that he wanted this job and thought he was better than me or Keith or whoever was doing it there. But that's him. That's how he was fighting cancer because of whatever that characteristic, that gene was in him that wanted to compete. Stewart just wanted to compete. But yeah, it's tricky. But, we had other jobs at SportsCenter. It's not like there was only one or two spots there and you had 8 guys who wanted it. You had the 6 o'clock, you had the 11 o'clock, you had the 1 o'clock, you had other things that they could compete for. That's what's different, with the NFL, with these younger quarterbacks. Does Cam Newton really want to help Mac Jones? Does Andy Dalton really want to help Justin Fields? You're Jimmy Garoppolo. They traded up to get this guy. Do you think he really wants to help Trey Lance? Brett Favre famously did not help Aaron Rodgers. I get it. But also it says a lot about your confidence level if you're going to help out somebody because you're not worried about them. But also it's the right thing to do. It just really depends on the attitude of the person who is trying to take your job. Yeah, McLovin. Were
there sort of cliques of hosts? Because I noticed when you took us up for the 40th celebration of ESPN, you, Robin Roberts, and Tirico had this bond. You'd come up together and you were all really close. You could tell. Was it different? If you come up with somebody, were you probably closer to them than, they say, an older or a younger guy?
Yeah, because Tirico came in and he was 24. Robin Roberts came in. Bob Lee was already there. Charlie Steiner. These are the people who were there every single day. And even though there's competition, it's still, we felt like we were the underdog. ESPN was an underdog in whatever we were doing. Networks looked down upon us, and we were constantly trying to prove ourselves. But it was great for morale that we were trying to get noticed, do things, be great. But yeah, when I see Chris Fowler and Berman and those guys, we went through a lot together. It's every single night you're there together. Can't help but form a bond. And I don't want this to be mistaken or misidentified or taken out of context. I loved being around Stuart Scott. I did. I thought he was fascinating. But he had that. If I wasn't there, he was going to be competing with somebody else. And I got a chance to reach out to him before he died. And we laughed. At least, I hope he was laughing because we talked about a basketball game that we played, and he wanted to guard me full court. And he thought he was, NBA Defender of the Year. He had his rec specs on. He has Worthy goggles on. And he had his Michael Jordan, Air Jordan, from head to toe. And he picked me up full court in a pickup basketball game. And it got to the point where he was bodying me, everything. And I got to the point where I'm yelling at him, where do you want me to score on you? Where do you want me to score on you? And I said, I don't want to go play in this pickup game if somebody's going to pick me up full court. I show up, get the ball, Stewart's on me full court. I go, you got to be bleeping me. But look, it kept him alive. And what he did at the ESPYs, far greater man than me, because I couldn't have done it. But, rest in peace, because he was a fascinating man. Let's see. We got our poll question. We're going to stay with that with the second hour.
Yeah, unless you want to, I want to ask about Kawhi Leonard at some point. We could save that if you want.
Okay.
Was it, if you ran the Clippers, would you want to sign that 4-year, $170 million contract?
Well, what other options would you have had there? That's the thing. He's not going to play this year, I don't think. You're not rebuilding. You traded all those draft picks to get Paul George. I think you have to sign him. If I knew that there was a plan B, I'd love to know what plan B was. If you're not going to re-sign him, then who can you get? But I was surprised that, who's trading for him now or wants to sign him? because you're just not quite sure what you're getting, and he's going to be out for an entire year. You almost have to. It's a must resign, and you kind of go into this season going, hey, no expectations here. Maybe you surprise some people, but no expectations here. But yeah, that'd be tough to go, hey, here's $40 million while you're rehabbing. And he's going to take his good old time. See, the Nets looked at Kevin Durant coming off the Achilles and go, we know you're not going to play, but we had to get him. And it's like, hey, we don't care. You're not going to play. Don't rush it. And we're going to play a long game here. With Kawhi, tough. Because he's going to be, 30 years of age and coming back from this injury? Just turned 30? When he's great, he's elite. But he doesn't play, little more than half the games during the regular season. There's going to be load management, even more so now, coming off an ACL. Yeah, McLovin.
He doesn't look 30 by the way he walks around the court. He looks like he's been through a lot of injuries.
Well, he has. Let's take a break here. We'll get to more phone calls coming up. In an hour from now, the great skateboarder Tony Hawk will stop by. Coming up, Jermaine O'Neal, the former Pacer All-Star, on the documentary Malice at the Palace, and what we don't know about what happened behind the scenes. We'll talk to Jermaine O'Neal. He'll join us coming up here. Approaching 17 after the hour here on the Dan Patrick Show. If you live vicariously through us, then you know that the Traegers are fired up. It is a Traeger Friday. Chimichurri smoked ribeyes and grilled Mexican street corn. Now, I could control the Traeger grills from right here, where I'm seated, because I have the Traeger app. I have the Wi-Fi technology. It shows me the temperature, and if I want to download recipes, all of those things. You can do that with your Traeger. Traeger makes cooking delicious food incredibly simple. Controlling the grill's temperature is as easy as using an oven. You just pick the temperature. Traeger does everything else. Like once it starts, Traeger takes over. The Wi-Fi technology, you control the grill right from your smartphone with the Traeger app. That means you can monitor what you're cooking. You can even change the settings while you're out doing yard work or hosting a national radio show. You can learn all about the Traeger grills. 6-in-1 versatility: grill, smoke, bake, roast, braise, and barbecue. Learn more. Go to your local dealer or visit TraegerGrills.com/DP show. Thanks for listening to the Dan Patrick Show podcast. Be sure to catch us live every weekday morning, 9 until noon Eastern, 6 to 9 Pacific on Fox Sports Radio. And you can find us on the iHeartRadio app at FSR or stream us live on the Peacock app.
After all that planning, it's happening. Your DIY closet renovation is finally becoming a reality. Question is, where do you put your things while you work? CubeSmart has you covered with month-to-month leases and self-storage solutions that make it easier to get organized. Online or in person, getting self-storage is convenient and fast. And because DIY renovations can easily go over budget, it's great that CubeSmart is offering up to 25% off your monthly rent. Say goodbye to before and hello to after with CubeSmart Self-Storage. Visit CubeSmart.com for more details.
Ever wonder just how far an extra mile really goes? Drive a Mercedes-Benz van and find out. Start with a network of over 250 authorized dealerships backed by a sales force ready to help you with financing solutions tailored specifically to your unique business and personal needs. They offer a variety of powerful and efficient vans that can run on your choice of either gas or diesel, like the durable Mercedes-Benz Sprinter or that versatile Mercedes-Benz Metris, each tailored to match your work or play lifestyle. With cutting-edge options like blind spot assist, rear cross traffic alert, active lane keeping assist, plus mobile hotspot Wi-Fi tracking capabilities, and an ingenious MBUX voice command technology for directions, weather, forecast, comfort control, and more. So take a test drive. Take that first step into an authorized Mercedes-Benz van dealership for a test drive. Mercedes-Benz Vans. Some equipment described as optional.
Cox can help make your home smarter and your life easier. Now you can use your Contour voice remote to connect to your home live cameras so you can view them right on your TV screen using simple voice commands. That makes it easy to keep tabs on what's happening around your home right from your couch. Need to keep an eye on the kids when they're playing outside? Just say, "Show me my backyard camera" into your Cox voice remote and watch them while you're in the house. And if you're waiting for a delivery and want to make sure it's there on time, no problem. Just say, "Show me driveway camera" to check on it with your Home Life HD cameras on the TV screen while you go about your day. When you live in a home powered by Cox Internet, you can stay connected to what matters and let Cox take care of the rest. To learn more about all the benefits of your connected home, visit cox.com/thisishome today.
This program brought to you by Mercedes-Benz Vans. They go far beyond from their customization options, cutting-edge tech, 5-star sales service, financial support crew. Mercedes-Benz Vans, built, equipped, engineered to be ready for anything. Go the extra mile, taking the all-important first step into an authorized dealership today. Jermaine O'Neal, a former NBA player, 6-time NBA All-Star. He is the executive producer, at least one of the executive producers of the new Netflix documentary Untold: Malice at the Palace, the first film in the Untold series, and the next film, Untold: Deal with the Devil, chronicling the pioneer boxer Christy Martin. That'll air November 17th. Jermaine O'Neal joining us on the program. Jermaine, great to see you again. What did you unearth that you didn't know about the Malice at the Palace?
Well, first of all, Dan, it's great to see you as well. A lot of, about this document was information and having a conversation. And that was big for me. It went about 10 years after the brawl happened, and we had to go through an incredible amount of legal, incredible amount of, civil, lawsuits, and we couldn't talk much about it. And honestly, I didn't really want to talk much about it, to be completely honest. And then this thing just kept being an anniversary, and it's like anniversary over anniversary. And I knew that it was information out there that was never talked about. And it was one of those things where I finally just, took some time out to interview, some directors, some producers, to kind of talk about, could we put together a doc that, one, didn't alienate a league that I care so much about, or, the Pacers or anybody else that I care a lot about, but really just to have the conversation for the first time so people can get a different perspective and see just how the narrative was changed. And I thought, this doc told everything.
When you hear from the fans who were involved in this, did you interview any of those fans? No. So one of the things I wanted to do on this doc, and I have to say, thank you to Netflix for seeing the vision, understanding the vision, the Way brothers, Floyd Russ, who's the director, who did a phenomenal job on capturing it. My job was to have the conversation, to get people that were there to talk, to come on. And I told them, talk candidly. The fans themselves, never had any contact with them. Hell, to be honest, Dan, when we shot this doc, I never even saw Steven Jackson or Ron Artest. We shot it all in different locations, or Ben Wallace or Reggie Miller. We shot it separately. Guys wanted to speak openly about it, mainly because we want to put this thing to bed so people can stop having anniversaries and talking about it. Anybody not want to be a part of it?
So everybody wanted to be a part of it. I got to say shout out to Rasheed Wallace and Larry Brown, who actually did not make the final cut because we only had an hour and 8 minutes to put all this information in there. So we're going to lose some sort of information, but everybody wanted to be a part of it. I think everybody understood it. You have to understand too, Dan, is that when you're going through a process like that 17 years ago, and it seems like it's been 2 lifetimes ago, but people are still talking about it. It's a lot of things out there, right? It's no real template to how you deal with, player fan involvement, right? And from a perspective of a business where the NBA, is a real business, a multi-billion-dollar business, you have to react, and they reacted, and to a point, rightfully so. But I just didn't, over a period of time, once things started to calm down, it was opportunities to talk more about some of the detailed stuff that actually happened and actually show, what in the world was going on in that arena that night.
But did you feel like there was something bad going to happen before something bad happened that night?
No, Dan. I mean, obviously we've had, it was a rivalry between us and the Pistons. It was always intense. But then you have to understand, like, you expect to go into tough environments. That's what makes pro sports what it is. It's a great relationship between fans and players. And when you go into opposing arenas and the two teams that are playing are projected to represent that conference, possibly in the NBA Finals, it's no love in the environment. But I never thought at any point that I would be wearing the jersey and all of a sudden, fending for my well-being.
What's that feeling like, though, when you realize there's a fan right in front of you and he wants a piece of you? Do you even think, can I defend am I allowed to defend myself even though he's on the basketball court with you?
Well, I could tell you this, Dan. I mean, you go through a process of just trying to, go from understanding, you go from, excited about, beating the defending champions. We feeling good about ourselves. And then going to a point where, hey, looking at what's going on. And then you go to a point of survival mode where people are now starting to touch you. People are now starting to spit on you. People are now starting to hit you with things. And all of a sudden it is a court full of people on the very surface that we should have been protected on. And, I've had this, conversation a ton over the last 2 weeks about leadership, right? Leadership is a word that you hear a lot in sports and life. And leadership is typically in the workplace, right? Or maybe even at home, but you don't hear very much, conversation about leadership when it comes down to protecting yourself and others in a situation that is compromising, right? And that's the thing that people have to understand. My position with it is I'm going to have to protect myself and others in a situation where we don't have anybody in the building trying to protect us.
And there was limited security there that night. And that added to this. What was it like in the locker room when everybody got off the floor?
It was intense. It was a lot of yelling and screaming. I remember just walking in the locker room, and it was like a movie set, right? Because you had guys that had torn jerseys. You had guys that were bleeding from, things being hit or scratches. You had, guys with like popcorn debris and all kind of stuff all over them. And people were just kind of out of it. And it just went from like one thing to another thing because then, once we actually finally got settled in the locker room, the police came in and was trying to take me to jail. And then, and then I had a situation with Ron at the time when he asked, do you think we were going to,
Wait. So what did the police say to you prior to them wanting to take you to jail?
And listen, I was sitting there thinking, how in the world you go through all of that stuff out there and all the legal stuff that was going on out there, and you walk in the locker room, the players' locker room, and you come directly to me saying, "Hey, you coming with us?" Right? It wasn't a ton of conversation, right? It was like, "Hey, Jermaine, you coming with us?" And at that point, I was already mentally out of it, emotionally out of it, and I reacted and said what I said to him, and I guess thankfully, they respected that. They understood where I was coming from.
Were they trying to cuff you?
They never got to that point, but they understood where I was. And I think that was one of the benefits of being 6'11", 260, where, you go into a situation and you see that it's out of control and people are emotional, right? And I was very emotional at that time because I think it's important for people to understand I inherited that. Jack inherited that, right? Jack goes in the stands to help Ron, and then the guy throws the beer in his face.
This is Steven Jackson.
Yeah. Right. I'm in a situation where I'm on the floor, but I'm on the floor with other fans. That, by the way, is hitting me, and grabbing me. I was telling the story, in a couple of interviews, like people don't realize, like I had just got somebody off being arm around my neck and everything. Right. And so I'll go from that to having to go to the slide punch. And then from a perspective too, Dan, you have to understand, I slipped. But then you have to ask yourself, what did I slip on? People were throwing things, beers and everything from the stands. It was like a movie, right? And so I'm gonna be completely honest, this doc, it took about 10 years to do. And I was fortunate enough to get with a director and Netflix who were able to tell an incredible story. It's for conversation and closure. That is all this doc is for. And for people to understand that all of a sudden, you go from a narrative of thug, criminal, and all this other stuff, which is bananas for me to even think about.
And I want to bring that up because that word thug, anytime this was being described, you guys were thugs. What was it like to hear that? No matter if it was the evening news or Sports Center, you're being called a thug.
It was disappointing. It angered me. It ate away from me for a long time. I mean, for a situation like that, for people to quick to judgment, not even doing their job to wait and say, let me get my information, right? And say what this is. It was like, opportunity. Here's an opportunity for me to take jabs, at players. And the thing that hurt me the most, not even about myself, my league was under attack, right? My peers that wasn't even in that building was under attack. So I was really disappointed. And I probably, over time, Dan, it was like a virus, like it just ate away from me. And because people got to realize we couldn't speak because we had so many pending. I had 8 lawsuits against myself, right? And then all the criminal stuff that literally went on for 10 years.
So you were sued by fans?
Sued by fans. The guy that even tried to choke me sued me. Sued by fans that were people that were saying they were emotionally damaged, and it was ridiculous. And won everything. I won everything.
Wow.
I got to clarify this because when I've spoken about the lawsuit against the NBA, and again, it's no jab against the NBA. I'm forever alumni, forever grateful because it's awarded me so many opportunities. But I think it's important when people look at that whole situation, when I go through the appeals process, and the judge is allowed to see every angle and see what actually happened, and say, okay, well, Jermaine, you had the right to do what you did. That's important, right? That is important to me because the character assassination was a real thing, Dan. And honestly, I felt it. It was never really the same. And part of my love, when you're going through a process like that, I love basketball, right? And part of that was damaged. And I knew that it wasn't going to ever be repairable because people didn't understand it and understand the real narrative of the story.
Talking to Jermaine O'Neal, the documentary on Netflix is Untold Malice at the Palace. It's available now. Why did you and Ron Artest have a falling out?
Honestly, as a brother, as a teammate, because it is an incredible brotherhood in those locker rooms, I did not understand. Back then, nobody understood mental health. Right, we wasn't educated enough. Mental health is in your face in today's era of sports and life. Back then, if you're talking mental health, you're talking crazy, and nobody wants to be involved in that conversation. And his reaction to stuff, which I thought he did a phenomenal job in the doc on explaining, kind of how he approached it. And honestly, Dan, when Netflix sent me the first cut of the doc, that was literally the first time I ever heard him speak about his process to how he deals with pressure, how he deals with everything. And so it all started to make sense, and I felt emotional. But back then, it was aggressive because I was about trying to win the championship. He would just disappear. He didn't react well to certain things, and I just didn't understand it. So we didn't have a very good relationship then.
But you're good now.
We are good. We are good now. We've had our first sit down lunch together. It was about 2 years ago. We talk often on text. Shout out to Ron, on being able to talk openly about his struggles. You were the 1996 draft? Yep. So you had Kobe, Iverson, Ray, Marbury, Steve Nash, and you're what? 18 years of age at the time coming in to the Portland Trail? I was 17. 17? Yeah. Oh, my God. That's a pretty good draft. Did you feel like
what am I? I'm 17. Should I be in the NBA?
Back then, Dan, it was incredible pressure because now you can actually make yourself eligible for the draft and then go through your process and go back. Back then, if you made yourself eligible as a high school player, you basically forfeited your college eligibility. So I was nervous. I have to say, big shout out to Aaron Tellum, who was my agent my entire career, son of Carroll, who walked me and my mother through the process of understanding what it was. Now, I will tell you, when I made myself eligible, every week after that point, it was somebody else declaring for the draft. And I was like, well, damn, am I going to get drafted? And so I was extremely nervous. It was some names coming out of there that I was actually fans of, like I watched on television. So it was like, man, this may be a tough one.
Were you compared to Kobe for a little while of, the success of the high school player?
In high school or?
No, when you guys got to the NBA, because Kobe didn't play much that first year, but I didn't know if they were comparing the high school player to the high school player and, who's having more success. Or did you feel that there was competition with you and Kobe?
It was definitely a lot of comparisons, for our success. I came from a smaller market, so not a ton of people knew about me. Kobe was kind of in that direction, for his last 2 years of high school. There's a lot of conversation about him going pro. But the success of Garnett and KG was really set the standard, right? And so if you didn't meet that level of expectations as a high school player, then all of a sudden it's criticism. And I had to go through my college one-on-one for 4 years with Portland. And that was the hardest 4 years of my life.
Larry Bird, I think, was in the front office with the Pacers when you were there. You got a Larry Bird story?
No, not really. Larry he's really quiet.
He didn't come to practice and take on everybody shooting?
No, he came to practice for sure. He just kind of sit down. He's really direct and about his business, very quiet.
Except for when he's playing.
Yeah, it's people like that though, right? They on the court and it's like they're a different person, and then when they step away from the court,
who was like that? Who surprised you when they got on the court and you're going, damn, man, he's up?
Believe it or not, and people may laugh when I say this, but if you look at Rasheed Wallace, right, when you look at the technicals and you look at the screaming and yelling, and as soon as you see him put on his street clothes, super calm, always laughing, people think that he's crazy, right? Because he's leading the league in texts every year and he's screaming and yelling, but as soon as he walk off the court, he's pretty mellow.
Could you smell pot on his breath during a game though at any point, Jermaine? Come on.
Nah.
Oh. I remember being at a Pistons game and Rasheed passed me in the hall and he was going out to shoot around, and it felt like it was a Bob Marley concert that was following him.
Listen, Dan, I'm gonna take you out for a drink. We'll have that.
I bet we will. When I come to Dallas, then we'll go out. We'll have a beverage. Well, good luck with this. I'm glad that you're able to have some closure with this. You went through a lot. Lost a lot of money. You guys lost an opportunity, I think, to win a championship that year, and a lot to go through. Thank you, Jermaine. It's great to talk to you again.
No, thanks for having me, Dan.
Jermaine O'Neal. He was a six-time NBA All-Star, picked 17th overall by the Blazers, and he's one of the executive producers of the Netflix documentary Untold Malice at the Palace. Yeah, I'm trying to think the first time I heard thugs when it came to athletes. Iverson was labeled a thug. Probably when he was in high school, had the fight at the bowling alley. And we just kind of threw that description out there, that label out there. And even though the Pistons were defending themselves, they were the bad guys. They were the thugs. And when you hear these fans who were involved in this on camera, there's a whole lot of attitude there with these guys who were involved in that fight. Ron snapped because he's on the scorer's table, and he snapped. And when he got hit, and then he goes into the stands, Steven Jackson is going to protect his teammate, Jermaine O'Neal. The fans start coming on the floor. He slips, or he probably breaks the jaw of this guy who's right there with him, wanting to go toe-to-toe with him. It's one of those where you're going, this isn't really happening. We're watching this in a bar in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm watching it live, and I'm going, this can't be happening now. These things don't happen. The fans are so close, and they do have that opportunity if somebody wants to do something stupid, but very, very little security. Very little. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got phone calls. We'll update our poll results. We're back after this. Thanks for listening to the Dan Patrick Show podcast. Be sure to catch us live every weekday morning, 9 until noon Eastern, 6 to 9 Pacific on Fox Sports Radio. And you can find us on the iHeartRadio app at FSR or stream us live on the Peacock app.
Hey, it's Ben, host of the Fifth Hour with Ben Maller, along with my trusty sidekick, David Gascon. Would mean a lot to have you join us on our weekly auditory journey. You're asking, what in God's name is the Fifth Hour? I'll tell you, it's a spin-off of the Ben Maller Show, a cult hit overnights on FSR. Why should you listen? Picture, if you will, a world where we chat with captains of industry in media, sports, and more every week. Explore some amazing facts about human nature and more. Listen to the Fifth Hour with Ben Maller on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The stories that are affecting the Black community are being covered on the Black Information Network. Not a show or a podcast, BIN is a 24/7 news network covering stories from a Black perspective. Listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app and get news for and by the Black community. Anywhere, anytime. Keeping you informed, keeping you engaged. The Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
The rivalries, the injuries, the determination, and the climb to the greatest of all time. Join us for a new podcast, The GOAT, Serena, the unheard story of the iconic tennis star's quest for greatness. With hosts Chanda Rubin and Zena Garrison, we'll take you from the tennis courts of Compton to the world's Grand Slams on this new season of The GOAT, and talk to the players that followed Serena Williams' journey, the coaches that helped mold her indomitable spirit, and the celebrities and family that cheered and cried from the sidelines.
The amount of work that it takes, not just on the tennis court, but in the gym, in the physio, in the recovery after injuries, it's unbelievable. She's competing against players who are 10, 20 years younger.
The GOAT Serena premieres August 26th. Listen and follow on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey guys, it's Brian Baumgartner, and you do not want to miss the next episodes of The Office Deep Dive.
Billie Eilish is calling in right now if you want to say hello to her.
Really?
She really is.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sure.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, first of all, congratulations.
Oh my God.
Oh my.
Thank you.
Insane.
This is crazy. How are you guys?
Listen to The Office Deep Dive on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The great skateboarder Tony Hawk will join us coming up top of the hour. More phone calls, 877-3DP Show. Email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle @DP Show. Last year, I should say, we saw the Patriots struggle without Tom Brady, and we're going to find out what the Saints can do without Drew Brees. You have all eyes on Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, and that starts this weekend as those two battle for that job there. The Saints play the Ravens on Saturday night. The tough question that nobody in New Orleans wants to ask is, can they win with either one of these quarterbacks? And we're not sure. And we're not sure the status of Michael Thomas. They lost some key defenders in the offseason. Sean Payton has been able to keep that offense going even when Breeze was out with injuries. He's got his work cut out for him this year. Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill have very different styles, but they're both compelling players, and one of them will have the tough task of trying to lead the Saints into the post Drew Brees era. And this goes back to you have two different quarterbacks or two different styles. And how do you run an offense when you have, contrasting styles? The Patriots with Cam Newton and Mac Jones, contrasting styles. I mean, Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance is able to give you a different element there than Garoppolo did, but Trey Lance is still considered a good pocket passer. You can run an offense there. You can add a couple of, tweaks here. But you start to look, Justin Fields and Andy Dalton. Justin Fields is more of an athlete than Andy is at this stage of Andy's career. What kind of offense are you going to be able to run? You don't want to set up for, hey, this quarterback comes in, we run this offense. This quarterback comes in, we run this offense. Offensive coordinators have a hard time settling on one offense to run, let alone a couple there. But those are some of the things that I'm looking for. Jordan Love, what kind of athlete is he? What kind of pocket presence? What kind of arm does he have? What kind of accuracy does he have? Leadership. That's what I'm fascinated with. McLovin, update the poll results.
So who do you want to see the most week one? Actually, Trevor Lawrence just passed Jordan Love. They're basically tied.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised Tebow's not higher on this. I thought there was some hype.
Yeah, maybe. But, with Trevor, it doesn't feel like his job's in jeopardy. Jordan Love is his future in jeopardy. We just haven't seen him. We've seen Trevor Lawrence on a big stage for, the last 3 years. We haven't seen much of Jordan Love. He had pockets where maybe you saw him, but now it gets real. Even though it's preseason, this is as real as it's probably going to get for him this season. Yeah, McLovin.
I'll admit I'm rooting against Justin Fields. He seems like a great guy, but Andy Dalton is in a slightly precarious position here in Chicago, isn't he?
You're still rooting for Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh my God, this is our last chance. Like we got to go 10-7, get to the playoffs.
Our chance. Is that what you're saying?
We got to get 10-7.
Carl in Alabama. Hi, Carl. What's on your mind?
Hey, Dan, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, say hi to all the guys there for me. But, yeah, I wanted to comment on the Patriots, but quickly wanted to thank you for that Jermaine O'Neal interview. That was fascinating. And I grew up in San Antonio, and I remember when Larry Bird had torched the Spurs in the 80s for about 45 points. And when he went into the tunnel to leave, beer was poured on him by one of the fans, and he went up in the stands and punched the guy and had to come back after the season and go to stand trial for it. It was thrown out, but really enjoyed that.
Right.
But the main reason I called is the Patriots. I watched the game last night and watched Cam Newton playing, and as they kick a field goal and they go to commercial, I guess, and Washington, does a 3-and-out, and then Mac Jones gets ready to come into the game, and there's a standing ovation, and I'm wondering to myself, what? I mean, I've never seen that before, and I don't know if maybe he pulled somebody from a burning car last week or delivered a baby, but.
He's the future, though, Carl. Thanks for the phone call. We love the future. We love the potential. The fans in New England know what they have in Cam. And Cam's not leading them to a Super Bowl. But now we have potential. We have a new quarterback. He's on a rookie contract. We have hope here. And that's what he represents, hope. By the way, one of my favorite Larry Bird stories, Craig Elo was on the floor, I think, guarding him. And Larry goes, "Where's your mom?" Because Craig Elo looks like somebody dropped him off at the basketball game. That's pretty mean. Craig Elo down on defensive stands. He's going to guard Larry. He's like, "Where's your mom, man?" Mark in Illinois. Hi, Mark. I'll squeeze you in here.
Hey, good morning, Dan and the Danettes. First time, long time, 6'5", 300+.
Yeah.
Hey, I really enjoyed Jermaine O'Neal's interview and his comments about the rivalry intensity, and I look forward to his documentary. I'm a lifelong Pacers fan who was at the Malice game sitting in the lower level directly across from the fight. I guess my comment to share is that when the game was over, we went out to the parking lots, and they turned into a mirror of the arena. The fuming Pistons fans were looking for anybody in Pacers gear, and we quickly got to our cars and head down. So my other comment is great job, Fritzy. A bunch of great guests this week, and look forward to the future.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Great job, Todd.
That's nice to hear. Thanks.
Todd's got another limerick, too, coming up final hour.
I do.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a great final hour coming up. Seton, Paulie, Fritzy, McLovin, yours truly. Final hour on this Friday coming up here. Dan Patrick Show. Close out the second hour. Had a friend ask me yesterday, he goes, does M-Drive really work? And I said, yes. He said, like, what's it do? Like, how do you know if it works? I said, well, the M-Drive Boost and Burn, you get that energy in the morning. It's clinically tested ingredients. You fight back against aging. It supports healthy testosterone levels and helps you shed some pounds, maintain lean muscle. Extra vitamins are in there, nutrients, boosting your energy and your strength so you stay at the top of your game. If you're trying to keep up with the younger guys, M-Drive is the place to go. mdrivedan.com, free shipping, 60-day money-back guarantee, nothing to lose. And if you don't go to the website, you can also go to Walgreens, Rite Aid, and Vitamin Shop to find M-Drive. But go to the website, mdrivedan.com. I've been using M-Drive for almost a year now, and if you're trying to keep up with the younger guys, the younger Danettes, I'm killing it. mdrivedan.com. Try it for yourself. Don't let age beat you. Refine your prime with M-Drive.
Cox can help make your home smarter and your life easier. Now you can use your Contour voice remote to connect to your home life cameras so you can view them right on your TV screen using simple voice commands. That makes it easy to keep tabs on what's happening around your home right from your couch. Need to keep an eye on the kids when they're playing outside? Just say, "Show me my backyard camera" into your Cox voice remote and watch them while you're in the house. And if you're waiting for a delivery and want to make sure it's there on time, no problem. Just say, "Show me driveway camera" to check on it with your Home Life HD cameras on the TV screen while you go about your day. When you live in a home powered by Cox Internet, you can stay connected to what matters and let Cox take care of the rest. To learn more about all the benefits of your connected home, visit cox.com/thisishome today.
The Skinny Podcast invites you into unscripted, casual conversations with the biggest names in the motorsports industry and beyond.
Oh, there you are, sweet Jesus. Come back to Papa.
I got second to Stewart, but he cheated.
That's Indianapolis. It can be pretty brutal, that place. But
Gary Benthausen came down and goes, "Spit in my hand." I go, "What?" He goes, "Drug test."
I'm very fortunate and lucky to have the one Indy twice and a championship.
With their humorous and off-the-cuff style, Rico Elmore and Ken Stout uncover the insider stories and crazy behind-the-scenes adventures of your favorite personalities.
No.
Well, you got to pick a direction, pal, and I'll stick with you.
yes, I realize I say that like a Canadian.
None of us are thinking that at all.
We're sorry.
So you say it on one of these shows like this. And
it'll be on the interweb.
I can't believe I'm finally on the Skinny.
Where do they get the name The Skinny?
I wondered the same thing.
I think there's a little fat joke hiding in there, Rico.
So those are great stories. Yes. I like that.
Find the Skinny on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
For decades, this area has been a hotbed for paranormal sightings.
This is a strange place, this part of the country.
Ed, where are you?
Something about it just doesn't feel right.
iHeartRadio and Grim and Mild presents Bridgewater, starring Misha Collins, Melissa Ponzio, and Nathan Fillion. Created by Aaron Mankey and written by Lauren Shippen. Listen to Bridgewater now on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and learn more at grimandmild.com/Bridgewater.